My name is Katie and I'm a modern quilter that loves all things quilting. Today I'm going to show you how to sew a kid's toy boat and a matching life jacket. You can follow along with the pattern available in my shop. It's called the Quilted Dinghy and Life Jacket, and it's very simple to pull together with scraps or whatever you may have on hand in your stash. So I went ahead and got everything pre-cut and quilted. So you do need to have a half yard of whether it's canvas or just any type of fabric, and batting, which I've had in my stash. I want to say this was Birch Organics canvas, and then I just had some scrap batting that I doubled up and went ahead and stitched that out, as well as I've got some Tula Pink here that I cut out the waves I thought would be perfect for the lining of the boat. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. The pattern does come along with templates, whether you're getting the PDF download or the paper pattern. They'll both come with a printable type template, so that way you can cut everything out according to plan. So first things first, I'm going to get the bottom of the boat and the boat back and sew these right sides together. All right, and now I'm going to go ahead and start working on the left side of the boat. Once again, right sides together. And with this being a curved boat bottom, you're just going to want to take your time and move the fabric as you see fit. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the right hand side here, right? So then I'm just going to push out those seams here. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and do the right sides together of the boat in the front. And I do have a little piece of twill tape that I'm going to go ahead, once again, using the markings that were provided in the pattern that I transferred onto here. I'm going to go ahead and place that there. And then I'll pin it into place. That way I don't lose it. And I'm going to go ahead and use a 1/2 inch seam allowance for the seam, just so I make sure I capture that bottom edge of the boat. And now you'll see I've got that little loop here at the front of the boat, and right now everything is inside out, right? And then we're going to move along to the back edge here, and I'll do the same thing. So we stopped a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch away. So I'm just going to make sure we're pinned, make sure everything looks good, perfect. And then same thing on the left side here. So now we've got our boat, which is inside out, looking great. What I'm going to go ahead and do is flip this right side out. And then in order to get the seams to be nice and crisp and to really have these pop great and, you know, just have a bit better structure, this is from kind of a bag making trick, is I'm going to go ahead and wet these seams down just with a water spray, and then I'm going to use a bunch of clips to kind of press them out, and then that way while we're sewing the lining it'll have time for the boat to dry up. So just got my Mr. bottle here, just gonna wet those down. So pretty much any seam, because they're pretty bulky, right? I should probably do the front here too. And I'm just going to take these clips and clip them. So we'll kind of leave that right there for now. I might turn it upside down so we can kind of get some more air to it. And then I'm going to go ahead and repeat those steps with the lining fabric. Now I'm going to go ahead and drop my boat liner right on in there, match the seams, and then I'm going to go ahead and actually probably use my pins this time. We'll see if it works through the outer layer of. I'm just going to match the 3 seams that run vertical first, and then I'll go in and fill in the rest of the pins. From here, I'm going to go ahead and sew my binding on the inside of the boat, and then that way I'll top stitch on the outside of the boat. I'm going to start on this back panel of the boat, so that way when I get here, I'm just going to overlap my binding, and then that way flip it over and there's no worry about connecting the 2 ends of the binding. We'll just cover the raw edge with a folded over style of the other binding edge. So to assist giving this a little bit more structure on these outer seams, I'm just going to hit it with Mary Ellen's Best Press. I like the non-scented one. I'm not a big smell person in my sewing studio or just in life, but they do have different, you know, fragrances as well. So I'll get that going. I'm just gonna hit that right on these outside seams. All right, while we wait for our boat to set up dry with a little starch on those outer corners, I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to make the life jacket that comes along with the pattern. All right, so what I have here is my life jacket piece, a very bright orange. This is actually, I think, just a random back order I got maybe from Joann's. I've got my twill tape. I didn't have any twill tape on hand, but I did have this white fabric ribbon. So I've got that cut per the instructions. And what I'm gonna go ahead and do is just fold over the ends of both of these. For the shorter piece, called out in the fabric, or in the pattern, I'm just gonna fold it over a 1/2 inch and then sew it. Same with the other side. This is gonna be the back strap of your little life jacket for your little stuffed animal. I'm gonna go ahead and do the same for this one, except I'm just gonna go over, gonna do a double fold since these will be shown. So I've got that little back strap. I'm gonna go ahead and measure up. And as you can see, I folded and pressed this in half. So that's gonna be the center line of my little life jacket. I'm gonna put my the back strap just 2 inches up. And then pin that in place because I'll sew it right there. Okay. And then I'm gonna do the same thing on this other side. So that way, this will be, if you're familiar with wearing life jackets, that'll be the back strap that goes behind your back and then right up to that center line again. And then I'll pin that in place. And then I'm just gonna stitch it in place. And from there, I'm gonna follow the line and just go ahead and attach them right in line with where your back strap is on both sides. And that raw edge is going to be captured in the seam allowance. So this might be where it gets a little tricky for you, but don't worry, it's going to work out just fine. I'm going to go ahead and right sides together, keep my left and my right string out from the seam allowance I'm about to do, and start. I'm only going to pin the first half of this. As you'll see, it'll be a little tricky to do so in a second here. So the back strap is inside the tube here that we're making. You want to make sure that your string strap is your right or your left, whatever one you're working on, isn't coming down into the seam allowance. You want to just go straight into the tube and maybe pin that just to make sure it stays there. It doesn't move on you while you're sewing to avoid any future seam ripping. And the other thing is you want to make sure that that back strap, I wish I could show it to you. The back strap is right down here. I can feel it in there. And we're going to sew about maybe half of this. We're not going to go wild. So you can see that back strap is fully encased. It's not going to get caught up in the seam allowance. All right, now I'm going to switch the other side. So I'm going to pull that back strap so it kind of crinkles up this tube, right? Uh-oh. No, we're good. Because we got to make sure we're not grabbing the bottom there, because that's where it's attached, right? So that's why it wasn't going anywhere. All right. And then once again, right sides together. We want your string to come out, once again, come straight in here and then go out and be fully encapsulated in the tube. Pin that quick just to make sure it stays where I want it. And then go back, start pinning from where you sewed. All right, from here now, we're gonna go ahead and turn this right side out. All right, so I've got my raw edges tucked. They're about 1/4 inch, and I'm just gonna quickly shut this one end of the tube. Now I've got some polyfill that I'm gonna wanna go ahead and get into the base here. As you can see, we've got our little life jacket on, Miss Minnie here. And in the next video, I'll show you how to make the easiest zipper pouch.